The Anglican Church of Trinidad and Tobago, in celebration of its 150th anniversary, presents our daily scripture reflection.
A reading from the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 13, read by Giovanni Burke of the St. Andrew's Parish, Tobago. For, brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another.
The Apostle urges that all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. If Christians who should help one another and rejoice one another quarrel, what can be expected but that the God of love should deny his grace, that the spirit of love should depart, and the evil spirit who seeks their destruction should prevail? Happy would it be if Christians, instead of biting and devouring one another on account of a difference of opinions, would set themselves against sin in themselves and in the places where they live. Paul's wish was that the false teachers be removed because true Christians had been called into liberty and were abridging and destroying that liberty. They were not in subjection to the law of Moses. They were free from the servitude of sin, and free from subjection to expensive and burdensome rites and customs. They were to remember that this is a great and settled principle, and so vital a truth was this, so important that it should be maintained, and so great the evil of forgetting it, that Paul says he earnestly wishes that all who would reduce them to that state of servitude would be cut off from the Christian church. We are not to misuse our Christian liberty by indulging the flesh and the lusts of it, especially when it is a given that Christ's free men should not do so, for that is to disgrace the doctrine of Christian liberty. To enthrall ourselves in bondage instead of using our liberty aright, and to give the enemy an occasion to blaspheme. The doctrine of Christian liberty can be abused and used to fulfill the lusts of the flesh, under a pretense whereby men think that they are exempt from obedience to the civil magistrate, which is using this liberty as a cloak of maliciousness, or that they are free from obeying the law of God as a rule of walk and conversation, or that they are not subjected to the gospel, or when they use the creatures God has given them without thankfulness and in an immoderate manner, and when they make things indifferent which are not, or use indifferent things to the prejudice of others. It is in these things that liberty becomes a stumbling block to those Christians who are struggling and weak. This is what the Apostle warns us against.
Brought to you by the Anglican Church of Trinidad and Tobago, celebrating its triple jubilee.